You are listening to From Ring to Veil.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Kim.
And we are your wedding planning gurus.
We take the stress out
and put the fun back into wedding planning. How to choose the right accessories, episode number 186.
Take a minute, pause, and subscribe to the show anywhere you're listening to this podcast. Share us with your friends and family.
Don't forget we have our wedding planning community, our From Ring to Veil wedding planning community over on Facebook. We've had an influx of awesome new members, so come join us. I'm sure we'll have some great discussions going on with all of our new members we have. So welcome, new members.
Yes, thank you. Our timelines and checklists are available for you for the low price of $2.99. If you have not yet purchased one, go to fromringtoveil.com/checklists, and you can get 20 pages plus of great material.
Today we are talking with Brittany Finkle, the founder of Happily Ever Borrowed.
She graduated from Cornell University with a degree in fiber science and apparel design.
She launched Happily Ever Borrowed in 2012, and she's here today to help you know how to choose the right wedding day accessories.
Thank you, Brittany, for joining me. I was going to say us, but since Shannon's not here, I mean me.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Us too, because Shannon and I are just probably not the best accessorizers there are. And I maybe sometimes tend to over-accessorize. So we're very excited to have you on and talk about this stuff. But before we get into that, how about you give us a little bit about your story and how you got started with what you're doing now?
Perfect. I would love to. So my name is Brittany Finkle. I founded Happily Ever Borrowed about 7 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. It's been this long. But I went to design school and focused actually on or was very interested, I should say, in wedding dress design. And when my sisters were getting married, they were like, oh, you should design our wedding dresses. And I said, absolutely not, like way too much pressure. I'm in college, not a professional yet, but of course we went shopping together. And as I went shopping with each of them, I realized kind of how expensive not only wedding dresses were, but also the accessories. And even just kind of seeing the quality of what was kind of in the boutiques and being in design school, I wasn't very impressed and seeing how much it cost. And I really couldn't get over the fact that brides have to spend so much money and they can only wear it once. I'm all about luxury goods and high quality items. And I get it when, women want to buy expensive shoes and bags because those can kind of last you a lifetime. But when it's something that you can really only wear once, it really bugged me that you have to spend so much money and then it sits in your closet and you never see it again. So I thought about the idea a bit more over the next couple of years. I started my career in working in the luxury fashion industry as a buyer and a planner. And about 4 years in is when New York kind of hit a big tech bubble and Rent the Runway started and Birchbox and Bobble Bar and all of these startups were happening in New York. And it was a very exciting time. And I really was passionate about, changing the space. And I thought back to the bridal industry and how broken I thought it was. And I reached out to my good friend, Haley Page, who a lot of people have heard of these days. And she and I went to college together, went to design school together. And at the time, she didn't have her own line yet. She was working for a different designer. And we were actually commiserating over heartbreak and boys. And we just kind of started talking about the idea of rental and why it doesn't exist in the US and how we should make it happen. So we kind of thought of the idea right there and then and went forward and ran full force with it, talked to a lot of different designers about it and just went up and running. And right before we launched the site, Haley got the call from JLM to get her own line. And obviously that was her dream and I was thrilled for her. So she stepped out kind of right before we launched the site and she started her line and I launched Happily Ever Borrowed and we have been going and trucking along ever since.
Awesome. And how many years has this been going now?
7 now.
7 years. Wow.
Yes.
And I imagine you've learned a whole lot over those 7 years and really tailored your systems to work well.
Absolutely. There was definitely a lot of hurdles we had to kind of come across. And so what we do is we buy wholesale the pieces directly from our designers. We don't buy from brides. We don't buy secondhand, mainly because we want the newest pieces, and we really wanted to partner with the designers. So it didn't feel like we were going behind their backs or having a second market. It was really about partnering with these designers and showing them that brides really want to wear their items, but if they can't afford it, they're not going to buy it. And so this was a way for designers to really get brides who could otherwise never afford their pieces to wear them and get awareness out there and grow their brand as well. So we partner directly with those designers and we buy them at wholesale cost, but then we rent them for about 80 to 90% off the retail price. And along the way, we have learned so much about what brides really want, what they're looking for, learned a lot about shipping with the United States Postal Service. Have had a lot of ups and downs, rental time frame and all of this. But yeah, after 7 years, I feel like we finally got it. And, we're always changing and iterating things. But I think we finally have at least the operational part down, which is awesome.
That is.
Yeah.
So let's just get into this. What is considered an accessory?
Yes. So we consider an accessory everything but the dress, pretty much. So on our site, we have veils, tiaras, headpieces, sashes, jewelry, so earrings, necklaces, bracelets, basically everything except the dress, and shoes we also don't do because sizing is difficult, and also just having your feet in those all day, rental is a little issue with shoes sometimes, I think. So for us, that is what is considered a bridal accessory.
All right. So we know what our accessories are. How do you go about figuring out what exactly matches with your dress and things like that? Is there some kind of advice that you can give to help with that?
Definitely. So I always encourage brides to reach out if they're kind of looking and questioning and trying to figure things out. Being, in this industry so long, we've tried to make a few tools to kind of help brides make the decision and guide them on their own. Because we know not everyone is able to have a personalized custom stylist at their fingertips at all times.
Right.
But also people have my email address all the time and directly email me, and I'm happy to always give suggestions because I love styling brides. But I would say there's a few things you can do. So first, we do have like a style quiz on our site, which I think is really helpful. So when you take this style quiz, it kind of walks you through what your kind of aesthetic of your dresses, your florals, your venue, just your bridesmaids, like everything just kind of around the wedding, of just not even necessarily what you're doing, but just kind of what image moves you. And after you kind of go through all of these selections, it tells you what your bridal style is. And so we have classic, boho, rustic, glam, eclectic for those brides who kind of are all over the place with their selections. And we've organized the pieces on our site into those style buckets. So this way it can kind of help direct you a little bit on kind of what you're looking for first and foremost. After that, I would say kind of really think about what you're looking for in your accessories. A lot of people are questioning whether they want veils or not. So I think it's great that we offer the ability for you to not only rent it for your wedding day, but I didn't mention before, we also have a trial box so that brides can try any 3 pieces on the site for their hair trial or their dress fitting for $50. And when they send that back to us, they get $25 towards their wedding day rental. So this way you can try a couple of different things. You can see what matches with your dress. You can see what your hairstylist proposes when she's, doing your hair in different updos. So I also always recommend that people try kind of before you rent for the big day. But I think, just think kind of about those very basic questions of like what you want. Do you want a veil? Do you want special jewelry? A lot of people feel really comfortable wearing the earrings that they wear every day, so they don't want to switch it up. And then for your hairstyle, I think that's where people kind of get tripped up the most. And that's where I really recommend that people bring a couple of our accessories to their hair trial, because most women, when they go to get their hair done, don't even really know that day what look they're going for. At least I know I didn't. I kind of had an idea of like, I want a braid, but also I want my hair down and help me figure this out. And I think kind of having a couple of accessories too with you to say, I want something in my hair, but I don't know how it works or where it should go. And that's like where your hairstylist is your expert who can help you through that. So I think there's a couple of different ways. And then, always ask a friend, look on Pinterest for some inspiration, or I always encourage people to email me directly with a picture of their dress and kind of what they're looking for. And I'm always happy to help point them in the direction.
That's awesome. That's really nice of you.
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned that people are trying to decide if they even want veils. Do you rent a lot of veils?
We do, actually.
Okay.
I would say kind of over the past 7 years, I would say when we started, it was pretty low. I think veils kind of had a comeback maybe after Princess Kate is when we kind of saw this turnaround of people wanting to wear veils again. I think there was like a little bit of a rebellion against them for a while, but I would say today it's definitely our most popular rented item.
Oh, wow.
I think it's for a couple of reasons. I think obviously the price. I think they're super expensive. And again, it's that feeling of, am I really going to spend $600 to $1,200 on a veil that I can literally never wear again?
Right.
And really only wear it for like usually 15, 30 minutes of the day because you're wearing it for like your ceremony and that's it.
I mean, you can wear it if you want to.
You could.
Around the house,
yeah. I mean, well, I'm thinking more than the cathedral lanes veils it's hard to drag that around all night. But it's true. I think people really get hung up on that price, which is why rental makes so much sense for veils and why it became so popular. But also I think there was maybe a little return to not necessarily tradition, but just kind of accessorizing becoming more of a part of the big day and people wanting to accessorize. And I love the idea that, especially with us and rental, you can really change up your look throughout the day without having multiple dresses.
Right.
You can wear, a veil down the aisle and then take it off for the reception and throw on a sparkly sash and big statement earrings and have changed your look or feel a little bit different or a little bit jazzed up. And I think that's fun. You're able to have more fun with the day, and it's an affordable way to really change up your look. So yeah, I think that's probably a couple of reasons why kind of veils have come back, but I'm really happy to see that brides are wearing them again because I think it does really add that kind of finishing touch to the whole look. So
what are your most popular veils?
We have really been doing well with these cathedral length veils.
Really?
Yes. And I actually had a coworker the other day who obviously borrowed from me, and she had me special her order something even longer than traditional cathedral length. She was like, as long as possible. She wanted the over the top very long, I think it was 120 inches cathedral veil. Wow. So we're really seeing a return to that.
Yeah.
And people really kind of want that long length, which I think is great. It's very regal.
Yeah, that really surprises me. I don't know if I could walk down the aisle with something so long. I can't imagine that. But that's really cool. Now, what about jewelry? What's your most popular types of jewelry that's being rented?
So surprisingly, I would say that earrings do really well for us. I always thought of earrings as maybe something that would be a little more heirloom. A lot of brides would borrow those kind of from their mother or their grandmother or their friends. But again, I think people, because they're having so much fun with kind of dressing up their style and really changing up their style, that they're starting to experiment more with these bigger, larger statement earrings. And again, they don't want to buy these earrings that they know they'll probably never wear again, and they don't really have an occasion to wear them to. So I think we've done really well with these kind of big drop earrings that people kind of want to play around with. So we were really excited to see that, and we keep buying different versions of that, and even smaller classic pieces. A lot of brides just, maybe they don't wear earrings on the regular basis, or they don't have just those studs that they're wearing every day, and they wanted something that was just a little more sparkly for their wedding. So we even find a lot of success with just a simple crystal stud or a pearl stud, and brides are really excited to wear that.
Okay, so earrings you're saying is pretty popular.
Yeah.
Okay, so or
Yeah.
are pretty popular. I I would think borrowing somebody's earrings might be a little bit on the same line as shoes, but I guess you would probably clean them really well. I mean, I would assume that you'd
We
have to
sure
do
do.
that. Okay.
Not only are we cleaning those posts in between, so we disinfect every single one, but also something that we do stress to our brides, but it's always difficult to manage is hairspray can very much ruin crystals.
Oh.
So we try to tell, of course, our brides, and it's hard for them to tell their hairstylists as well, that, wait until your hair is completely done and hairsprayed and then put in your headpiece and put on your earrings, because when you spray on them, obviously, like, it loses that shine.
Yeah.
And then by the time it gets back to us, that is kind of crusted on, and we have to help try to get that and clean that off. So there's a thorough cleaning of every piece that comes back to us, because we are trying to get rid of all of that hairspray and everything that is on there. So
Okay.
that's it's definitely a part of our system. So no worries to those brides who are nervous about that.
Thank you. Thank you for cleaning that up. Okay, so jewelry.
Of course.
This is kind of where I might get in a little bit of trouble, but how much is too much? Or is there such a thing?
I think a lot of brides kind of want, I think they've all strayed away from kind of wearing too much. I think for me, necklaces are really hard for the big day, because necklines are difficult with your gown. And I think, I actually wore one on my wedding day. And it was kind of a lariat, which had a very long, like, string of crystals that was in the back, because it had a very low back, and it was very simple in front. But I think unless you kind of know you really want a necklace or you want to accentuate something, it can take away from your gown a little bit. I think bracelets and earrings are always safer because they're a little bit further away from the actual dress itself. So I think pairing up earrings and bracelets is always fine. I think wearing all three can sometimes get a little overwhelming, but also, it's really about the balance. If you're using just little tiny studs in your ears, but you want a more glamorous necklace and bracelet, I think that's totally fine. And vice versa for any kind of combination. So I think you can definitely still wear all three. I would just make sure the balance of the weight of the pieces isn't all kind of over the top. I think that's where kind of we get into the rule of maybe we should remove one and just have two.
Right. Okay. So what about if you're wearing a nice headpiece or a tiara or something like that? So then you've got that there, and then a necklace and earrings and rings and bracelets. When you're wearing a tiara or something that's in your hair, should you not wear a necklace or something like that?
I think it depends.
Okay.
I think, again, like, if it's a really big crown, then maybe, you'll want to not have also really big earrings and a really big necklace. But then, it also depends on your dress too. If you have a very simple satin, plain, straight gown and you're going all out with your jewelry, then I think it makes sense that with your jewelry and your headpiece that you're going a little bit bigger. What I always want to stress to brides is the jewelry and the headpiece should accentuate your wedding gown, but not take away from it. So I think just keeping that in mind of, if you have something that has buttons all the way down the back, then maybe wearing a really elaborate back headpiece might be a little bit too much, because you want the focus to kind of be on that gorgeous detail on your gown and not on the back of your hair.
Okay.
So I think it's also like a balance with the dress, a balance with your hairstyle. I think Coco Chanel once said, like, when all else fails, like, take one accessory off before you leave the room. So maybe that's, if you feel like you're a little heavy on accessories, just go back to her advice and take one off.
Okay.
But I think as long as you balance it all together, it's your big day and it's whatever you want to wear, and you can make it work.
Awesome. These are great little, what I like to call golden nuggets for our listeners. Thank you so much. So we did ask you to supply us with 5 tips on choosing your wedding accessories. Let's talk about those now.
Okay, perfect. So my first tip is to think about kind of your theme. Obviously not every wedding has a theme, and most people are kind of a little more generic with their big day. But I think just thinking about not even your theme, but just like your location and the feeling that you're trying to get from the big day. I think if you're wearing, a really big ball gown and you're getting married in a castle, that it would be your expectation that you want your accessories to also be kind of that princess vibe. In the same respect, if you're having, a wedding that's like in the forest and you're wearing a very like boho chic gown and you're putting a tiara on top, like maybe it just doesn't kind of match the overall feel of the day. So my first tip is just to kind of think about your theme, think about kind of what you're envisioning, and try to kind of tie back your accessories to accentuate, again, that dress and not take away from it. For example, for my wedding, I was very focused on blue, and actually my dress had blue in it. At the bottom, all of the tulle was blue.
Cool.
And I was really inspired by an ombre blue veil that I had seen from one of our designers. So I ended up really thinking about my dress after the fact. And obviously I'm in the accessory world, so accessories came first for me.
Yeah.
But it was also about the fact that we got married up in Lake George, and our whole wedding color theme was kind of blue and white. So, for me, having that like touch of blue was really important to kind of tie through my wedding day look also. So it's an example of just kind of think about what vision you have for the day and the scenery and the feeling, and make sure that your accessories kind of tie back to that.
Okay.
My second tip is a little bit on the same vein, but also different, is to not worry about matching your veil so perfectly. So I think a lot of brides get really, really nervous about the color of the veil and the color of their dress and making sure it matches.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of questions about that. And I think what's to keep in mind is, again, like the color of your veil is usually, it's made out of tulle 90% of the time, 99% of the time, which is a very sheer fabric. And when you lay that against your dress, it just kind of molds into it. Like it blends into the color of your gown. So, there are instances I can say where if you have a very, very, ivory cream dress and a stark white veil, that I can see where it might not match up exactly, or it might not look like you wanted it to look. You want it to match a little better, but majority of the time, or at least on our site, most of our veils are kind of a light ivory or an ivory, and 90% of the time these go with your gown and match and blend into the gown perfectly. The only brides I get nervous about are those brides who have those stark white dresses.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think if you have an ivory veil, it obviously looks darker than the dress, and then that's not so great. But other than that, don't be so concerned about matching it perfectly, exactly, because in every lighting that you're in, it's going to look different and change anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're taking pictures outside, if you're outside, it's going to look different than it is when you're inside, and you never know how the lighting is going to be in your venue. And either way, it's going to just blend perfectly. And so I always encourage brides not to worry too much about that.
Okay.
My third tip is, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is bring a few pieces to your hair trial.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people, again, kind of don't know what they even want. So I would recommend, bringing a hair comb, and maybe then a headband also, and another piece that would accentuate with those three, because again, bring it back to my personal examples, but I really thought I wanted my hair down for my wedding, because I always wear my hair down. And as she started kind of like playing around with my hair, I was like, well, put a little bit more up, and put a little bit more up. And eventually it ended up all being up. And I wouldn't have thought, that I wanted an accessory that kind of accentuated an updo. I thought I wanted something that accentuated having my hair down. So it was good to have a couple of different pieces with me, because, just like when you're dress shopping, you never know kind of what you're going to come out with. You think you have an idea, and then it looks different when you're actually going through the process. So I really encourage brides to bring a couple of pieces to their trial. And for that reason, we have our trial box on our site so that you could try a bunch of pieces without, again, spending too much money on things you can't return and whatnot. Our Our fourth tip is to always remove one accessory.
There you go.
So I mentioned that earlier as well of my Coco Chanel quote. But, if you feel like, you should really feel like it's your big day. You should feel comfortable and in your own skin on that day. And obviously, you're probably getting your makeup done and having your hair done differently than you usually do. And you're wearing a gown that you're normally not wearing. So it's hard to feel normal. But I really want brides to feel comfortable. And that's where if you feel like I'm too dolled up or like I have too many things on that I wouldn't normally wear, just take one off.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel comfortable in your skin and in your look. And the worst thing is for a bride to feel uncomfortable on her wedding day. So, bringing it back to kind of more of that comfort or making sure that you feel comfortable in your look. Feel free to remove one at the end of the day if you feel like it's too many. And lastly, my tip is I also mentioned it earlier. Wow, I really went through all of these. Was to say, I love the idea of really changing it up from your day look to your night look. So actually, we do have a lot of pieces on the site that are a lot of fun that can be worn in many different ways. So they're called duets, but even some of them can be worn 3 ways in the sense that you can wear it as a headband, or you can wear it as a sash, or you can even wear it as a necklace. And I think it's a lot of fun that, again, like during the day, maybe you want that sparkle kind of in your hair as you walk down the aisle, but then if you feel like you're a crazy dancer when you get on that dance floor, maybe you want to tie it around as a sash later on because you don't want it falling out of your hair. And I just think, again, like there was a trend of brides, I think it's still around really, of buying 2 dresses and wearing one for their ceremony and one for their reception. And for everyone who's trying to save money, obviously that's not the easiest thing to do. So this is a really easy way and an easy tip for you to kind of change your look throughout the day from day to night. And we even have kind of shoulder toppers. So we have, of course, like first doles for those winter weddings, but even like little lace capelets and things like that, where, if you are having a more religious ceremony, maybe you want to cover your shoulders up. So we have a couple of details you can do with that. And then obviously for the reception, you're taking that off and you have a completely different look underneath. So we really want brides to feel like they can change it up throughout the day if they feel that they need to, without having to buy a whole separate dress.
Great
so those are my 5 tips for choosing those accessories. And again, if you have any questions, anyone can always email me about the different pieces on our site and what we offer and what I suggest to pair back, because I know sometimes you just want another opinion.
That's right.
And that's what we're here for.
Exactly. Well, I think we have time for one more question, and this goes off a little bit off of the bride and more onto her wedding party. So how important is it to match the jewelry with the personality? And then again, does all the jewelry need to match across the board?
I don't think so. I think, I really encourage brides not to kind of go with the basic set of like the earrings matching the bracelet, matching the necklace. I think it's always, nice and clean, but also, even with bridal party gowns these days, bridesmaids are wearing, maybe the same color, but different iterations of that color dress. I think you can have the same fun with your jewelry. I think you can have maybe the same color jewelry. Maybe you want to go all gold, but based on your bridesmaid's personalities, maybe one wants to wear earrings because she loves big earrings. Maybe one wants to wear a bracelet. Maybe one would prefer a necklace. So again, I think you can, tie it back to maybe keep one theme similar of maybe everyone wears earrings, but they can all wear different earrings, or everyone wears a piece of jewelry, but it's all gold. I think you can have a lot of fun with it and really cater it to everyone's personality without it all kind of being exactly the same.
Okay, cool. That's kind of what I was thinking, especially like you said, with the outfits being different nowadays. They're not all the exact same dress on everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like weddings have come such a long way over the past few years, and really I love that it's kind of embracing this individuality with every bride and individuality in the couple, really, and how they see their big day. And I just love that there's so many different unique ways to have your wedding and make it special and make it feel like you and your future spouse and not just about the standard cookie cutter or whatever the catering hall offers.
Exactly.
So I love that.
Exactly. So where can our listeners find you?
Yes. So everyone can visit on happilyeverborrowed.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. So on Instagram, we're at Happily Borrowed. We took out the ever because it's too long.
Yeah.
And on Facebook, you can find us at Happily Ever Borrowed as well. Kind of I would say Instagram is where we really kind of update most often. And everything's available on our site for rental, and we ship nationwide. So, we look forward to hearing from all of your brides. And again, if anyone wants to reach me directly, my email is Brittany, BRITTANY at happilyeverborrowed.com. And I'm happy to answer any styling questions that you might have.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Of course.
Did you know that Zola is not only a wedding registry website, not only a wedding website, but they also offer invitations and save the dates?
Do you also know that you can conveniently manage everything online in one place, and it saves you so much time?
With the invitations, you get free guest addressing, free matching envelopes, and friendly prices.
Also, along with your free wedding website, you have a guest list manager, so you can add your guests to Zola's tool, and they'll help you collect missing addresses and format your addresses and track your RSVPs, which is very important.
If you don't know, Shannon and I went through and set up a wedding website through Zola. We also set up a registry, and it works together beautifully. It's so easy to use, so easy to set up. They have 500 top brands in their registry area. They have over 100 beautiful wedding website designs to choose from. It really is a one-stop shop when it comes to online wedding planning.
So sign up at zola.com/FRTV. That's ZOLA.com/FRTV. And you get 30% off your save the dates and invitation orders.
Thank you, Brittany, so much for joining me, not Shannon. No.
You can say that. I don't care.
For joining us and sharing all these ideas. We enjoy having people on the show who are really knowledgeable about the subject that they're talking about. I feel like she gets accessories.
Yeah, she hit it on the head, That Coco Chanel quote is one of my favorite quotes.
Oh, well, there you go. She's
But I don't really accessorize very much, so I don't know why it's one of my favorites, but it is.
Hey, we all have problems, so we all need help. I just hope that this helps you guys learn a little bit more about accessories and not overdo it, but not underdo it, and just get it perfectly right. And I just love that she has offered to help any of our listeners. If you have questions, if I were you, I would absolutely take advantage of that. So let her know, send her a picture and say, okay, what should I do? Don't send it to us, send it to Brittany. Although we could use her tips and then probably help you out a little bit.
We have a question for this week from one of our awesome listeners.
Yes, we do.
I live in the Chicagoland area, and her bridal party lives on the West Coast, where most of her family and friends are. So she's thinking about going to Palm Springs for her bachelorette party.
A little backstory is she has unique situations like pregnant bridal parties with kids. She's aware of each of the situations, and she wants to make it as easy as she can for everybody to get together and have a fun time. So she's thinking maybe Palm Springs, pool time, spa, maybe even aerial yoga, which what is that?
It's, the big scarves hanging from the wall or from the ceiling, and you get in there and you can swing and twirl and all kinds of cool stuff.
That's yoga? Because that just sounds like a fun time. You know what I mean?
Well, you do yoga.
Okay.
I mean, She also said she might do a stripper pole, have a stripper pole dance lesson. So, hey, to each their own.
Exactly.
That's something I would never do. It is a good workout. Don't get me wrong, but it's something I would never do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm kidding. No. I mean, it seems like a fun time. It's just not something I would do. But anyway. Also, a sporting event. Hey, I'll do the sporting event, but I don't know what kind of sporting events in Palm Springs. Do they have like a minor league baseball team? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So she wants to have fun and she needs help with ideas.
I think all these ideas are great. What she should do is sit down, and this is what I would do probably. Sit down and make a list of her bridal party. Write down each name of her who she has standing up with her. And then go to right on the next column what those people will do, what those people will not do, or what will make them happy, what will not make them happy. Like go through there and see if you can find a common thread.
The pregnant woman probably can't do the pole dancing.
Right. Or maybe even the aerial yoga probably wouldn't be good for her. But she could definitely do spa or pool time or
because they do
event.
have pregnancy massages now.
Yeah. I would suggest making some kind of a little list and going through there and finding something that you think all of them would be happy with. What would you do?
Well, like I said, the sporting event, if there's something there that my husband thinks baseball is boring, so he doesn't like to go to baseball games. I love to go to baseball games because there's nothing better than sitting out in a baseball game with friends, drinking beers and having hot dogs. I don't know. That's fun to me. I like hockey. I like football. So I like sports. I don't do sports. I like watching sports.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's fun if your other people in your party like to do that. The spa thing,
most women will love that.
Yeah. And sometimes if you have lots of people going, they'll have a discounted price for you to, since you're booking so many or whatever. So call a spa, see what they have. Do it that way.
I've never been to Palm Springs.
Yeah, well, it's desert. Maybe there's like 4x4 Jeep trails that you can go on and do that, which I don't know if you could do that with a pregnant woman.
True. Is that right on the ocean? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
It's in the middle of Southern California, between Southern California and Nevada.
Okay.
It's desert.
Well, there definitely has to be food. So there's going to be some kind of eating.
It's a big vacation area. Like, people go there for the summers and stuff like that. And there's lots of houses to rent and Airbnbs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the whole thing is you don't have to just be entertaining the whole time. It's really about getting together and hanging out.
You can have a dinner brought into the rental if you're going to do a rental house and have girl time, sit, chat, eat wine, eat stuff and drink wine and
Hey, watch a movie, watch Bridesmaids, do something fun like that too. Just be together, have fun together and connect. Yeah. That's really what it's about.
She also wants to know if it's rude to insist for herself to pay for the rental house wherever they stay. It's not rude, but if they offer to pay and you want to pay for the house, then ask them to pay for something else. Like maybe the catered dinner or some part of the spa time or, an activity or something like that. Just don't refute their offers. Give them something else or, say, hey, yeah, I can take this much money for the rental or whatever,
some of them want to help. Like you said, if they do offer, either let them or have them pay for something else. It's really that simple. It's not rude at all that you want to pay. Or if they say, we would like to pay for this, say, I have it. I'm taking care of this, but you can take care of this and you can take care of that and, come up with a plan that way. That way you're not putting them down or they're not going to feel left out or maybe they really want to do it.
Yeah.
Just be nice about it. Thank you for the questions. Yay. We love listener questions. Obviously, we made a whole show about it.
And on our Facebook community page, we did ask if you have any topics to talk about. And a lot of them have listed something and we'll go back in and look at them. And if we've done a show on them, we'll put the link to the show on their suggestions. So look out for that on our Facebook group.
Can I just say we've had 27 new members this week. I'm just
it's
so
only
excited.
Wednesday.
I know. Well, I think Facebook goes Wednesday to Wednesday, so it's a full week. But
okay.
I'm just so excited. We're 230 members now. So thank you guys for joining. where we're having a lot of fun. And I'm seeing a lot of great conversations. Thank you, Kate and Alan and Ginger. Thank you for answering all these questions that people put up. When we can't get to them right away, they'll just jump in and answer them. I'm like, yep, what Kate said.
Yeah. And there's been a few additions to vendors on our page now too. So hopefully they'll chime in and give their 2 cents worth as well. So
That's
look out
right.
for that.
Thank you guys. And if you're looking for that, again, it's From Ring to Veil Wedding Planning Community on Facebook. There's 2 simple questions to answer. Just answer those. And as long as you are getting married or are a vendor and have a current business, we're happy to let you in. And I'm happy to say we've had no drama so far. So yes, our ladies are great to each other.
We are no drama llamas.
All right, so let's wrap this thing up. Seattle Metro Area Wedding Planning Resource Guide. We have that available for you on Amazon in paperback or Kindle versions. You can get to that by searching Seattle Wedding Planning on Amazon, or you can go to fromringtoveil.com/RG paperback or /RG Kindle, and you can find them right there.
We also have FRTV swag at fromringtoveil.com/TEE. We have t-shirts available, not just FRTV's t-shirts, but like your bridal party t-shirts and things like that. You can get your bridal party and books and notebooks and tote bags and all kinds of goodies there. So it's at fromringtoveil.com/TEE.
Subscribe to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Right there in that app that you're listening to us in, just click subscribe. We are in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, as well as many more. If you find a place that we are not listed, please let us know. We need to know that because I have checked many of the apps, and even in some of them I found we weren't there and I put us in there. So let us know if you find something that we are not in.
Until next time, no stress, no worries, keep calm and listen on.
Music provided by bensound.com.